Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Hello.
Today, I wanted to go a bit deeper into uh, Scientology and psychiatry. That's my transition, basically. I started out in Scientology and saw how they told me how evil and destructive it was, and that they're the root of all destruction of mankind, and galaxies too. Like L. Ron Hubbard even said, like, they're on the whole track. They're in millions of years ago, psychiatrists still existed, and they brought man to its knees. It's really ridiculous. But here I am, and I wanted to talk about my transition, how I discovered my condition, and how I approached it. So, I have Luana here.
Hi again.
And she is a great helper in this. She helps me kind of keep looking at something, some stuff it's not easy to look at. And so yeah, she's here to help guide me and stay on topic.
I remember when we met, and
oh, cool.
That's pretty. I remember when we met, and I asked you that if you have any siblings, and you said you have a daughter, and I shared to you that I have a son.
Yeah.
And I have an autistic son. By the time I met you, your dad was gonna be 15 years old.
Yeah.
And when I met Matthew, I see similarities like of my kid on him. And I said, oh my goodness, you know what? I bet if you know my kid, you're gonna be really good friends. You're gonna have a lot of topics to talk about, because he was into Magic the Gathering and comics and this kind of things, like Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah.
And cool stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember clearly I was in Puerto Rico,
that's kind of what my name is about. The Holy Rogue. It's one of it's a play on a role-playing character that I made. Those who are into RPGs, you have your rogues who are pretty cool at stealth and what have you. I've always loved the rogue, and in role-playing you have the cleric, the holy one, the one who can attack the undead and yada yada. So I never liked being clerics, to be honest. So what about being a holy rogue and setting up holy traps and whatnot? And I kind of take it to heart too.
Yeah, we're defeating an evil.
Yeah.
A cult.
I dig it.
Yeah. But
Sorry.
The similarities, no, that's good, because they are knowing you better.
Mm.
So the similarities was there, and then the lacking of things was there too. And there's some traits that, everybody have God-given talents, right? And I'm so humble in God's eyes that He give me this discernment to help people in need, and in this type of people I am like.
I mean, your history is amazing.
Yeah.
With all the people you help. Not only that, the people that she can just see it.
Yes.
And I felt that same perception as far as like, it's just maybe it's a personal thing, but you could tell when there's another person with a mental condition.
Yeah.
I can tend to perceive them.
And I love the way that we are similarities in that, because when I was little, I tend to go and visit the kids that they were neurodiverse or they have some kind of disabilities in the school. And the other people mock me about it. The other kids mock me about it, but I've had that compassion.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love that Matthew have the same compassion too. And even in work, when somebody's in distress and it's a neurodiverse person or a person that is in need, he will defend them. Because it is in our nature, that humbleness and that discernment from God to help. And we are here, this channel is to heal too. we're
Absolutely.
healing. Matthew is healing with you guys, and you're more than welcome to heal with us too.
Yeah, thank you.
And share the, you're gonna be, we're gonna see you, we're gonna hear you, and we're gonna help you.
Yeah, I would love to talk with more people, me, Luana, and we could do like a live chat with anybody who wants to come out or ask questions. It's time to just keep on blooming all these other ex-Scientologists
Yes.
to just start talking. And we have the all-stars, and we know who they are, and they do incredible work every day. And we want to hear the other voices too. It's time
Yeah.
to come out.
You don't have to be scared anymore.
This is a good vineyard. You
Yeah.
know, lots of grapes. So just come on out.
Yeah. You have your
I can
word.
interview you and
Mhm.
or whatever. You can interview me.
It's very healing.
Let's get it out there, because just talking about it is jostling so many things.
Yeah, and it's your story.
Yeah.
It's your suffering, it's your failures, it's your happiness, it's your gain, it's your worth. And it's only yours. And nobody's gonna tell you how to do it. You, by the grace of God, are your own. You are in control now, and it's safe. And but back to the point when we met. I remember that he was always smoking, like a really high anxiety, and ADD, of course. And so.
Well, just to explain ADD as well, I've seen it in a very general sense, but once I was diagnosed with it and I really studied what it was, at least the way it works for me, there may be other forms of it, is it's almost like a funnel. Just picture a funnel, and information coming into the funnel can be received, but processed is only like this. So when you can only process so much information and keep your attention on it and analyze it, aside from all the other stuff coming in. And that's unfortunately the handicap of ADHD for myself.
Yes.
And that's one of them. But I just want to make sure that people understand, like, ADHD is a handicap.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
That's all. I wanted to just talk about that.
So, when we first started talking, you expressed to me, because remember when we first met, he still was in Scientology, and I respectfully hear him, and I just share my views and share my love of God, and I see his love of God too. So, and I was like, okay, so you think like all the because Scientology is said that all the drugs, like especially psychiatric drugs, are evil.
Right.
Right?
It was very heavily instilled. Like, people would give up tens of thousands of dollars at a IAS event, a Scientology event, to fight psychiatry. And you'd get installed in your mind, like, yeah, we're fighting the
it's
real,
part of the
downward
brainwash
spiral.
program. Yeah.
They're the cause of all downward spirals.
And then they make you feel bad if you are disabled.
When you get out,
Because it's something that you have to they could help you figure out, but they make you feel bad about it. Like, oh, your stats are down, you are getting sick or whatever. It's also your transgressions or something like that.
Yeah, it's your
So
fault.
it's horrible. It's horrible because not only they help you, not only they let you have your doctors or your medicine to help yourself, they make you feel horrible about it, and that turns in depression.
Well, yeah.
And
so you saw me with those traits of your sons, of our stepson, my stepson. Rather.
yeah,
And
when I saw more, it was like how you approach to people was not natural or organic.
And I couldn't see this.
Yeah.
She would tell me, but I was like, what?
I was really gentle though.
So what kind of
Like when you talk to, like when you talk to me or when you talk to the person, we have the personal space. You have a personal space, right? So when you approach for the first time to a person, you have that personal space. But sometimes you were in your mind like in control of the situation that you're gonna go for it and approach the person. Hey,
that was
how are
all
you
the
today?
drilling.
And it was like here.
Yeah.
It was like here. It was not like normal a little bit. And I
Yeah.
see people's reaction like, oh, hi, how are you?
It's funny.
Oh
man,
yeah,
but,
I see.
That
But you
was-
see a little bit of uncomfortable, like the person's, and I sensed that. And I told him little by little, and then sometimes when he was talking to me, or he was like, no, if we disagree on something, you were here like, answer the question, answer the question, answer the question, and I'm like, okay, no, you don't approach people like that because you're gonna block the people, or you can have a encounter like it's not good, it's not safe. So I'm like, baby, you have to like tone down that, dude. You have to. What is this? And he's like, little by little. It's the indoctrination and all that.
Yeah, where you don't
Because
even know
you
that
tell
it's
me
different.
that you were really introverted. When he was young, he always been introverted, right?
Yeah.
And when you were young, you were really introverted. So
in some areas.
so they
you know.
they give you tools to be able to talk to people, but they
Well, yes
give
and
you
no.
the wrong tools,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it was like a wrong approach.
Yes and no. I mean, I'll say I've learned to not be afraid to talk
Yeah,
to people
exactly.
because I was
Exactly. It's
forced.
the truth.
But
It's the truth.
but I was forced to go into the streets and body route. And if you want to get
And it was
somebody,
not natural at all.
yeah, if you want to get somebody to start talking to strangers who doesn't want to, force them with authority to go body route, and they're gonna, after some months or years, tend to shed some of that shyness.
Yeah.
And but it's still a mental discomfort.
And still there, a little bit less.
Yeah. I
but
mean,
still
after
there.
all those years, man, I
Yeah.
still have it.
Yeah.
You know, of that
But
how to 8C somebody. That's the word. 8C is the term he uses to take somebody and control them.
yeah.
Use the right amount of force, not heavy force. Just the right amount of force to guide them to where they need to go.
Yeah.
And they would do that. I still do that sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's,
Mhm. And therefore, he
It's
has
weird.
sometimes stubbornness because he doesn't want to feel like that anymore, and sometimes he is stubborn in his ways, and that happened to a lot of persons that have a neurodiversity or some kind of disability. You start to like lay down your own self, like self doubt so much that you dim your light. Please don't dim your light.
And I
And
do
I
that all the
always
time.
telling Matthew that.
The hard part is
It's
like
don't
it
dim your
feels,
life,
it feels
'cause
logical in
you
my
have
mind.
to have your own
And it's really
validation.
bad.
Is your own life, if your own thoughts, if your own pain, if your own traumas, if your own happiness. So you own that. Nobody else is controlling you. Nobody is telling you what to do anymore.
Yeah, it's nice.
So break free is so relieving.
Yeah, it is.
And by the grace of God, you will find your shelter. Like thank God, Matthew find the shelter in me, and God, and I find the shelter in Matthew. And
Which
we
I still
complement.
am like, what? But no, for real.
We
Yeah.
complement each
Yeah,
other.
we really do. And I'm a Taurus,
but
and you're a
Cancer.
Cancer, and we really match well. Not that I'm too into that, but
No.
to be honest, I've seen some truth in it.
yeah, but nevertheless, we all have our own God-give talents, and sometimes when we have PTSD, trauma, abuse, emotionally and physically, it could damage you. It could really damage you not be able to express and grow in your own like talent. For example, Matthew is a brilliant writer, and he's a brilliant. You are. You are. And it's day by day. It's day by day, but we're here. We're here, and we will validate you and validate yourself. Love yourself. Love yourself.
Yeah, and she's
With
helping
your-
me with that, and the community is helping me with that.
Of course.
People in
Because
the
you have a
comments
lot of things
even
in common.
say, to validate yourself.
Yeah.
It's always been a very hard thing for me to do. It just is.
Yeah.
And to practice doing that is pretty nice. It takes. I get quite the reactions. Like I just don't want to do it. I can't see it. I don't want to. But
You are
then-
pop up, and all of a sudden something is not like the way you want it, because you have to be perfect or something, and then you devalidate yourself, and then and it's not good. It's not good.
But it's
It's
helping
time to
though.
grow.
You're
It's time
helping
to
me.
grow.
Yeah, you're helping me. Like this,
Yeah.
before the video, she asked me, what things could you validate yourself for.
Or what?
So what I want to ask is, what I want to bring up was,
It's okay.
no, it's just a blower.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I
but what
remember-
is important is, I think, is how different you feel when you started to go to the psychiatrist
Oh yeah.
And
So
it's
what
like-
happened was this.
and drink the medication that
so-
you needed.
I saw my son Gerard, and I said, "My God, I do have some of these traits of autism."
The first time they talked on the phone, they were like 1 hour talking, and I knew it.
And because he lived at the house, when Luana moved in and
Yeah.
his son, I started to observe, and I was like,
And I was like, also, when you have a son that have neurodiversities, and autism, you have to explain a lot. They're so not well. Like right now in these times, is better understanding, but back in the day it wasn't, and it was
Yeah.
not easy. And sometimes people don't get it. Like the brains are wired differently. And you have deficiencies, and people have to embrace and respect that.
and
'Cause
it's tough too coming out of Scientology and then
Mhm.
looking at the fact that everything you learned was bullshit. There might have been a few truths in there from his copying of the people, but to be honest, you have to re-educate yourself into validating what the brain is. From my viewpoint, Scientology invalidated the brain so much that you just thought it was a hunk of meat. It didn't really do anything except maybe operate the body, but it wasn't your thought. It didn't affect your thoughts because you're a spiritual being and you don't think that way. And it cancels out the brain, and it cancels out that important science.
Yeah.
And now I had to kind of relearn it, and when I did, I was starting to open my eyes. So I decided, hey, let's get some testing done, and I was really excited about it.
Because he was convinced that he had autism, but I know he didn't.
Yeah.
There were some things that were really similar, but some things it wasn't. And I said, no, you don't have autism. And
So I went to the testing, and it was I recommend anybody to do this. It was about 4 hours of testing, and it was like with puzzles and pictures and all that cool stuff you see in the movies, kind of. And I ended up getting diagnosed with schizoid.
schizoaffective.
No, listen. The schizoid was first.
Uh-huh.
He says, "Oh, I think he doesn't have autism, or Asperger's, but he has schizoid, which
And
is
that-
a lower form of schizophrenia."
Mhm.
Now you have schizoid, you have schizotypal, which is the middle version, and then you have schizophrenia. They all kind of run together on the spectrum.
Mhm.
And I was like, "What's a schizoid? It sounds awful," I was like, I was a little disappointed.
You were
But-
depressed.
Yeah, but I was like, okay.
But we tell the truth that what are we gonna do about it? That's the thing.
So then,
take control.
Yeah. So then, I did some medications for it for the first time. I was a little I was actually kind of excited because it was such a forbidden thing to do, and I already saw how Scientology was, evil, and I was like, all right, it's time to see if what they say is true. So I took medications, and it did help, and
till this day.
Some medications, this is important. Like if anybody does take psychiatric medications, just be in communication. Keep a notebook.
Exactly. With
It's
your
not gonna,
body, right?
It's not going to kill
Write
you
in a
over.
notebook.
You're not going to turn into a zombie. Nothing like that. You just keep a good eye. So I saw some meds that I did that were like, I don't really like it.
Yeah.
And so
And they were not helping you so much.
So I tell him, and boom, we just try another one from his knowledge. And you have to trust the psychiatrist in his knowledge.
But you have to be really true to the person, to the doctor. That's why it's nice to keep a log.
Right.
And
so, the medicine still help today for sure. Now I'm on the right meds, and it's been great. It's been under control. My biggest thing with schizo. So what happened is this. I just became obsessed with researching it, and. Sorry, I got distracted.
Sorry.
So, I became obsessed with the subject and knowing about myself. So I just researched about schizoid and schizophrenia and everything. And I was having some issues as well. I was acting up. I was acting up with delusions. That's one of my main things. Is I get
it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy. There's a lot of pain.
I get the mental delusions where I believe in something that probably isn't true. Or how would you describe it?
Well, the scary part is that the person, when he get in that cycle, and you were not in your proper medications yet.
Right.
We were trying to handle the ADD, and it was dangerous because that medication spiked the other condition. That's why it's so important to have a log and talk to the doctors and use to natural things too. It's a balance.
And they're not evil. They're not going to be
But what happens is when a person is like that, is so the delusion is so true to them. And you have to validate that. In that moment, it was so true to him.
And long story short on that, because that's a story in itself, but long story short on that is it created a lot of problems.
Yeah, a lot of pain.
Yeah. And so you said you think I have multiple personality disorders.
Yeah, one time I was
she woke me up and she looked at me and she goes, honey, I think you have this.
Borderline or bipolarity, and it was true.
And I took it to heart. I didn't.
Not borderline, but the bipolarity comes with the schizoaffective. Yeah.
I didn't take it.
But we were not handling that yet, so that's why.
I didn't take it hard. I actually took it serious, and I said, okay.
Yeah.
And I did more research. And where did we go from there? Did we go see the doctor?
No, then you get I tell you, you have your results. Go to tell them what is happening. I'm sorry, the doctor. And we did together. And for the first time, he invited me to go with him because I always respect that. And even though it's affected me the most, I always and then he started to invite me, and he started to be more open to the family and everything. Because he was ready. And that's how he gets you the right medication. And because some of this, what is dangerous is that the Scientology is making you sometimes hide stuff. Hide it.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're good, but you're not.
Oh, big time.
You're not.
No, big time.
You're not.
Case on post. No case on post. Which means you can't have any
and he still was fighting that. He still was fighting that, and I'm like, no, free. You're in control of your own. We're in control of your own life and see.
This is why this community is helping me so much. It's like a group therapy, and I love that. You know,
So yeah.
I want to be in more communication. Again, I want to have more people talking who are ex-class 5 org staff or ex-Scientologists.
You're all survivors. You're all survivors, not only physically,
And
but
even
really
never
big
ends.
time mentally and emotionally.
I don't want to cause like a term like it's a, but I guess never in is a good term. But the people who've never been in, if you guys are still want to interview, I'm up for it. Me and Luana, I'm up for it. Okay, so wait, so schizoaffective. I researched the hell out of it, and I actually discovered this is what I got, and I nailed it. And I read about the traits. What's great about psychiatry is that it delineates the borders or the framework of a condition, and it does acknowledge that things are on a spectrum. You know, you can love coffee, or you can kind of like it. You know, it's a spectrum. Somewhere there, you love coffee or hate it. Same with mental disorders.
It's like an umbrella.
Yeah.
You have different traits, each individual. You can have depression, anxiety, PTSD. You have schizoaffective, and so on.
So, he looked at it, the psychiatrist, and he understood. He goes, yeah, it is true, except you have depressive type of schizoaffective disorder. Real brief, schizoaffective disorder is a combination of schizophrenia with bipolar disorder.
Yes.
So I definitely get manics, I definitely get my depressions, and they still happen, but not as frequent and not as hard. And
Anxiety.
Yeah. And that's it in a nutshell. It's a great study in itself. It's opening my eyes to what I have. Finally understand myself instead of these fake terms of engrams and reactive mind and none of this shit that's real. And it's, you know, what an evil thing for him to do.
It's blocking you to have healing.
Yeah. But now I am.
Yeah.
Now I am.
So, okay, what are you thankful now? When you break free and you are in your right medication, every day is a new day. Every day is a new challenge. Every day, you know, you still have challenge. But what you are thankful for now and happy?
Well, I'm going to tell you, especially for anyone out there, if you have the resource, I mean, my parents, very thankful for it. When I left Boston, the area of Scientology I was in, I was able to come here for a safe haven. As you can see, the environment here, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for what I need. Thank the Lord, thank my parents, and very thankful for Luana, because you incredibly support me and understand me. And that's the hardest part. Like, to understand me emotionally, no one else could.
I stand here. I still here.
Trust me, man, it's been hard for her. I've done some horrible things. Like, that's the problem with psychologists.
Yeah.
That's the problem with having the source sometimes is that.
And you said your condition too, right?
Huh?
Because of your condition, you just have that thing to break free. And like, wait a minute, like you didn't know, but that inside was festering, and you have to let go of it.
How I got out of Boston and everything was really schizophrenic, but I'm gonna tell you, it got me out. That's another story because it will take a little while.
Yeah, you have a beautiful haiku that you write that said, trials in your life tend to be blessings in disguise.
Yeah.
And that's
trials
right
in
now.
our lives do tend to turn out to be blessings in disguise. I've seen that to be true.
Yeah. And then you're thankful for your freedom of speech and your freedom of have your own life.
It's because of this community. Before this community, you could find stuff online. You could find some YouTube people on YouTube. even before Aaron and before Chris Shelton. And, I'd find stuff. But, and you'd see Anonymous. I was on staff in Boston when Anonymous happened. And, I got a couple of stories about that. Nothing heavy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. We are thankful for our kids, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
there are different kinds of survivors in this life. You have surviving mental abuse, you have surviving physical abuse, you have surviving of illness. And we share that. He is a survivor, and I am a survivor too of cancer. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna talk about that.
Absolutely.
But we have our grateful honest that when we get pregnant, I had my daughter, and 1 month later they discover a tumor, a really cancerous tumor.
Well, they were doing their 6-week check.
Yeah.
After the birth, and after that, they saw the development of cancer, where before it was so minute they wouldn't be able to see it. And because of the birth and her delivery and the 6-week check, we were able to see the very beginning stage.
The trauma and the tumor.
If we didn't have the child, or if we didn't have her conceived at the right time, she would have cancer through her body.
Yeah, we will not be here. I was not.
Actually, she was at the end of stage 1.
Yeah.
Stage 1B1. That's what they called it, and it was amazing.
Yeah. So when I was pregnant, my mom died of a heart attack, and my dad was the one who was dying of leukemia, and I was pregnant like 3 months or 4 months, and my mom died in my arms, and it was beautiful, but at the same time really sad. And imagine me having the pregnancy, being a caregiver of my dad, the hospital, Mayo Clinic, and everything, and dealing with Matthew and my son.
Yep.
And I was dealing with my own sadness of my mourning of my mother.
She's a holy warrior. She's amazing.
And by the Bible, and God gave me always, when I was reading, it was a grace. So the second name of my child, the second name is Grace, because God gave me that name, and believe it. Mm-hmm. If you have ears and eyes to see, He will talk. You will feel Him. You will hear Him. And I am so blessed that I can say that when I was in the deepest pain, God told me that grace, by the grace of God. And I remember I sit down, and we were pretty much choose a name already, but I said, no, Matthew. I wake him up 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I said to him, I wish she's going to have grace in his, because she's going to bring grace to our life. But I didn't know I had the cancer. So I was dealing with the cancer that I didn't know.
That's right.
It was, I was 41 when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and it was challenging. But when Eleanor was born, I thought the grace of God. We all saw it, and we are really grateful for that. And that's part of for my testimony, but our testimony too, because He could see it with His own eyes. How great is God. So, yeah.
I've always believed in God, even before Scientology. I had my journals back when I was a teenager, a young teenager.
Yeah.
I always...
You can see the love
I always
there.
felt it. I always had that love. And it is a perception. There's a lot of misrepresentation of who Jesus is and how He behaves and how people represent Him. Just know it's a personal thing. It's a personal relationship. And you could just be in communication with Him, and that's it.
And His greatness and His love
Or
doesn't mean you're gonna be accept of more challenge in your life.
He love. It's love. It's love.
Yeah, but you have the tools
Yeah.
to embrace them. And yeah, my story is gonna be like another time because this is going right. So, but can you read us this to say?
You want me to read it?
Yeah, I want him to read a haiku that is really good and meaningful for this conversation.
Oh, I appreciate it. The spirit's shelter. Soothe it does the storms of pain. You are my safe place. And to me, whenever I'm in a mental or spiritual struggle, I need to, meditate, or I need to escape, I go into the arms of the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm. Seek shelter. You're gonna find shelter.
And I do it my own way. And I do it through my spirit.
And God will give you the tools and the persons. Like, I'm so
It
grateful
works.
that
It works for
He
me.
was like, I am for Matthew a shelter too. And you guys, if you don't have
Oh,
your
yeah.
shelter, you will find it.
Mhm. But that's what the haiku meant for me.
Yes.
And it could be a person who's your safe place, and what have you.
And God.
All right.
Yes. Thank you for
Yeah, I gotta get ready for
your
work, too.
time, and I hope this conversation is a little bit of hope and help for all of their needs.
Yeah.
On all the that need something. Feel free to comment or ask or talk.
Yep.
We're here.
Yep. And
You're validated.
I really am encouraging the people who are out of Scientology to speak out, or anybody who has the courage. Just know that you have a lot of support, and I think you know the rest. It's okay for you to do it. You can reach out to me and my wife or anybody else in the community. All right. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be blessed.